Alright, and round two. Gonna be on the draw, which is, I mean, obviously this deck would rather be on the play, but every deck would rather be on the play in this format, so, yeah. To be fair, there was a considerable wait between the rounds, and so I was going to say our opponent may take a minute to get back. I think this hand is borderline. And I'm very tempted to mulligan it, given this deck. I'm gonna mulligan. Yeah, okay. This is significantly better. That hand. I mean, I could have drawn cards that make that other hand good, but we have so many 2-drops in this deck that I felt like a 6 was just very likely to be better. Blue-red, okay. That is a powerful combination. Oh, am I getting Clash of Wills? I did see 2. Could be getting impulsed. Oh, Angel's Tomb? Okay. I have not found Angel's Tomb to be particularly strong. I played it in an 18 creature deck, and I didn't feel like it was great there. But, you know, my opponent may have come up with a better way to use it. We shall see. Playing the Aven because it's better use of my mana. Next turn I could go Reckoning into Freeblade, perhaps. I mean, they would have to have a haste creature for that, but there are haste creatures in the format. Spattering Aeronaut is not that. It's also not a super combo with Angel's Tomb. Like, you get to hit me for 3, but, Alright, well, clearly serving here. Alright, leave up green. Would have been nice to draw land and play Oracle there, but I am still feeling very good about my my board position here. I feel like I have enough time. I'm just going to bluff Enshrouding Mist. I do have 2. Like, it's reasonable enough to do it. I mean, it's nothing. I could just as easily F6, but I feel like I'm getting 0.2 billionth of a percent of value, so why not? Obviously, you can get carried away with that kind of stuff, especially with a more control-y deck, but The deck I have drafted is anything but control-y. Okay, that is a creature. And that is a very good target for suppression bonds if I draw land. Yeah, if I swing out, he's just going to block with the Walker, so Bond's Walker, hit him for 5. The Aven and the Aeronaut bounce off each other. Yeah. I mean, clearly could have Impulse, but hopefully not. And if he does, I don't know if it goes, well, it almost certainly goes here. Servathal. So with 2/3/3s on the board, I'm feeling pretty good. This is as with many cases, is one where Conclave Naturalist looks better than Indrik Stomphowler, because, well, no, there's a tomb. I could blow that up. That's right. But still, my point was, if these were the only enchantments and artifacts, it would be very awkward having to play a, you know what, I'm just stupid. That's also an artifact. Never mind me. I say dumb things on camera. Anyway, 2/3/3s and the Aven, which, I mean, my opponent is priced into blocking it one more time, for sure. But, I mean, at some point, they either have to have a big play or an actual answer. Which means they certainly can, and this is the only real removal spell I have for serious threats. Although, Wild Instincts on a 3/3 free blade is can answer most things in the format. And Swift Reckoning is not bad either. I mean, this is a decently difficult board position for my opponent. I mean, we both have, you know, basically even creature count, but they're in a very tenuous position here. They also have 6 mana, and there are some really, really strong creatures for 6 mana. Really strong plays that you can have for 6 mana. They could also have Alhammaret, which could be very good here, but yeah, I'm not super concerned about that. One, because it's a rare. Two, because, I mean, all the cards in my hand are gas. I'm pretty likely to, yeah, okay, alright. I can understand why that was such a tough choice for my opponent. Also, almost positive my opponent was drafting to my left, because I saw that fairly early in the draft. Okay. Did I? Apparently I have managed to disconnect. That's fun. And annoying. Well, hopefully it will pop back up here in just a second. That's minorly tilting. So, I'm gonna give it just another second here. It normally doesn't take long to reboot. If it doesn't in like 5 seconds, I'm going to pause the recording. Alright, sorry about that. But we are now back. Alright, but as I was saying, I can sort of understand my opponent's plan on that card. Because, yeah, two Thopters definitely helps with winning the race here. The question to me is whether I can still attack with the Aven. Assuming they have a creature next turn, which I don't think they do, I think they would have to top deck a creature. They could swing at me for 6. And 6 is a considerable amount of damage. Yeah, I'm just going to swing with the 3/3s here. If War Oracle gets a hit in, and I include a hit as being dealing any combat damage whatsoever, I feel quite confident in this race, but because they're playing red, I'm not super stoked about swinging in with Avon here. Invocation will be nice if I draw the land for it, but I would also be quite happy just drawing more spells, you know. Maybe a little telling that I don't have a trick that with me not attacking there. Turn to frog, you say? So that still kills your guy. That's unfortunate for my opponent. Alright. This is the only play I really have available to me. I mean, I could kill the Thopter, but I don't think that's where we're going here. And obviously Turn to Frog would have been very good on the War Oracle. So, what does my opponent have? Whatever they top deck this turn, and whatever they haven't been playing for the past few turns. Gearcrafter. Okay, alright. That is a card. My opponent definitely has artifacts. No one can deny that. So I'm taking 5 damage here? Is that correct? Okay, they're leaving back enough to block the War Oracle. Yeah. Alright. I mean... Oh. Oh. It's unfortunate that I can't attack with the Avon here. But I can attack with everything else. Disperse would be very bad for me, but, you know, so it goes. I assume this is just a double block on the Oracle. I mean, they could go all 3 on the Oracle to kill it through the leap, mighty leap or whatever it is, but that just gets blown out by Enshrouding Mist. I don't really feel like that's the thing my opponent can do. And I definitely don't mind Mist here. I would like to have a land to play here so I could drop Naturalist and blow up the tomb, but it's always kind of tough to respond to that, because, I mean, you know how your opponent feels, right? It happens to everybody, and it sucks. But at the same time, it's not clear to me that would have lost them the game. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, there are not a lot of cases for +1/+1 counters on just random creatures in most other sets, so I can understand. By the way, I've been sitting here with Mist in hand, wondering about saving the War Oracle when I do have the kill on the board. Or not on the board, but in my hand, if they have nothing and don't block. And yeah, it always is just very rough when you make a play that turns out as bad as that Turn to Frog did for my opponent. and you can understand if at least I can understand if they're a little tilted by that, but you know, it is what it is, you know. You have to find a way to push through that and play on. So is that lethal, or do you have a thing? Nope, that was lethal. Good, good, good. Again, I see their point that that it was, you know, a misplay, but again, I'm not certain that that would have been that they would have won the game besides. But I mean, I don't know what that card is either. So, yeah. On to sideboarding. Do I have anything? Aerial Volley could probably be strong here, but at that point it's a question of what do I want to take out. Definitely not Naturalist. It is literally naturalized, right? Yes. Bonds is probably less than stellar, but I don't think I can take it out. It is very rough that I have so many good cards. I was thinking I could maybe take out a land on the draw, but I think I have too many 5s and 6s for that. That feels rough. So Volley and Wingmare are cards I think I could bring in. I could just bring in one of them over Force Mage, because I don't think any of my cards are bad. But Volley seems very good. So yeah, I think Force Mage is the weakest of the cards I have in the deck, even though Swift Reckoning was not at all good in that particular game. And also interesting to note that Aerial Volley for many values of X is just answers a killed off Hangerback Walker. Yeah, I'm going to run it like this. Again on the draw, but decently fine. My opponent does seem to have a pretty decent Angel's Tomb deck. It is awkward with Thopters because, I mean, double triggering doesn't really matter. But it looked pretty good that game. Entirely possible, since... Okay, they have chosen play first. Entirely possible my opponent took a minute to... took a minute to collect themselves, since clearly they were a little on tilt after that punt, and that can be fine. This is kind of greedy to keep, but since I'm on the draw, I think I will keep it. There are 10 planes in the deck, and I do have a 2-drop, even if I don't hit exactly a planes by turn 2, and now I even have a turn 3 play, so I think it's a good keep, or at least a fine keep, but it could go wrong. Yeah, I'll play Wolf first. There's no, like, I don't think Gilder really helps me. Let's smack for 2. What I was getting at there is Gilder doesn't really ramp me into anything. Because, you know, there's just nothing in my hand it would ramp to. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Alright, I take 3. reasonable question to me whether or not I'm going to play a trick here. Because they're definitely blocking there. Probably blocking there? That's not 100% certain. But I think I'll trade a Mist for a Gearcrafter, especially since I can play a Leaf Gilder afterwards. And Gilder. This is very good for me. Clearly I could still lose, but this is a strong position to be in. Okay. I could bluff a trick, but I don't see why my opponent wouldn't just block. I don't know about trading. Yeah, I'm gonna hold back Aven here and just play War Oracle. That is a card my opponent must deal with. And then next turn, I can give them the opportunity to trade with the Oracle. Using Watercourser. And see how that goes. Like, I'm not 100% sure that this trade was right, just because there are things that, that profitably block a Timberpack Wolf. But and my opponent does have a really good double block of Watercourser and Thopter on the Oracle. Honestly, though, it's not clear to me that in this situation I wouldn't just trade. I feel pretty strongly about attacking on the ground here. It's just not certain whether I should swing in the air. Of course, I'm going up to 16. My opponent is pretty well either priced into straight up trading Watercourser and they can hold the Thopter back, I suppose, at that point. But then I'm getting in for 6. Yeah. This may be overly aggressive, but I feel okay by it. Swing with all. And again, behind this I can just play out 2 free blades. The awkward thing after this is I'm going to be out of gas, but I'm going to be ahead on board in decent position life total wise, and I'll have enough mana to play any card in my deck. So my top decks are all live. It's just lands will be super bad, and I still have 11 out of 27. That's certainly not bad odds to peel one off the top, but that's the way the game goes. Okay, just going to eat the Timberpack Wolf and trade with the Gilder. Okay. Alright. And I'm fine with this, even though I have another wolf. Like, I'm getting in 5 damage, I'm getting a Thopter off the board. And I mean, I feel like this hand just wants to attack. Like, I don't feel particularly like I'm getting anything out of hanging back. It's also interesting to note that right now my opponent cannot, on the field, trade for War Oracle with their Watercourser. I don't know of any sweepers outside of Chandra's Ignition and the ones in black, and of course Tragic Arrogance. opponent has Ignition, well, that's going to be a reason for me to try to kill him quickly. No creature at all? Wow. Again, just serving with all. I mean, they can eat a free blade. I am aware of that. That gets in 6-8 damage. And that makes War Oracle a must block next turn. Also means they have to start coming up with an answer for Aven, because it will be a 2-turn clock. Like, it could be that I should just attack with these two, but I don't think that's the case. Also makes this free blade able to trade with a Courser. I mean, at worst, trade with the Courser. I think that attack is right. Clearly I'm out of gas, but this may well be enough. Okay, there's 4 mana, 2 of it blue. Whirler Rogue, does Whirler Rogue get them out of this? Not really. Block. Quad block? Or triple block, excuse me, with the Whirler Rogue and the 2 tokens. I mean, that's super risky, but they are in rough shape this game. It is a 4 mana play. Oh, Aeronaut? Okay. I don't feel like Aeronaut is going to do it. I mean, they're tapped out. I'll have 6. Alright. Did they even... They don't have a way to win this game anymore, do they? Because... Yeah, I don't think there's a way my opponent can win this game anymore. Like, they're chumping here to survive another turn, but none of my creatures can die here. I guess that's not true. The free blade could die. But their whole board is going to be gone. And I'll have a 4-4 and a 2-4. And they'll be at 2 life. Yeah, that's fine. Like... I mean, they could play the 4 mana haste guy, hit me for 3, 4, 7. But I'm at 21. I mean, I'm trying to rack my brain here for any card that can get them out of this. And, I mean, it's not like they're not going to make that play last turn, because, you know, hey, maybe there's a card you've forgotten about in your deck, but... And this is, I mean, this is what makes a deck like this so strong. Like, I'm sure my opponent has good cards in their hand. Obviously, they kept, and they have a bunch of cards in hand, but, like, any stumble at all, and you know, even if it's not a stumble, like, this hand came out fast enough that even if they were playing things, they may not have been able to beat it. And I mean, it is also possible, with the way we ran out of gas here at the end, that they would have managed to come back and stabilize and win anyway. But still. And I'm getting ahead of myself, because they could still have, like, a Whirler Rogue, another Aeronaut to buy some more time. Okay, alright, yeah, no, that is a good start for my opponent. Oh, well, except... Except for that. And that may well be. I mean, my opponent could be right that they played the games poorly, but I mean, in both cases, I had a pretty good hand that drew decently well. So it's not clear that they would have lost or that they would have won um, if the few decisions they're thinking about were different. Like, I don't know exactly what their hand is, what they're talking about. My opponent missed land for like and I mean, I'm not giving my opponent any grief. Like, they've been, you know, completely polite about this, and I definitely do hope that, things run better for them next time, because it's definitely run bad for me too. But I think they may be beating themselves up more than they need to. But yeah, so on to the finals, and still, that was a pretty interesting game. Angel's Tomb, I still think is pretty bad. Like, I mean, not being able to block is a huge drawback on the card, and the plus side of creatures is that, if you kind of flood out, a creature can still do a thing. And this only does a thing when you're drawing creatures, and it doesn't do a thing if you're, playing like Dragon Fodders or Gear per Gear Crafters. I mean, it does, but it only triggers once. What you want is a hand that plays a creature per turn and can beat down, but you also want to keep the way clear, and it's a weird tension, and I just don't think the card is very good. Anyway, that's going off in another direction. I'll see you guys in the finals.